The Cleveland Browns are historically built on a bruising running game, shutdown defenses, and a confident, tough guy attitude. First and foremost, Browns running backs are known for their historical greatness, and more importantly, historical dominance. Younger fans may find this hard to believe, but the Cleveland Browns ruled the NFL at one time, on the shoulders of great running offenses. Although quarterbacks have been the talk of the league for a couple of decades now, running backs were once the most important position on the field. Cleveland's running backs gave their squad an advantage over nearly every other team in the league. It became a theme that the Browns' group of running backs were bigger, stronger, faster, and meaner than anyone else in the NFL throughout franchise history. There have been a plethora of Pro Football Hall of Fame-level running backs in Cleveland. Not only that, but one of them likely lays claim to the title of best football player ever, so, needless to say, it's time to split some hairs. This list was not easy to make, as the space between numbers 5 through 1 is almost annoying small. Our list is not objective, nor is it the end-all, be-all of this conversation. So without any further ado, this is our list of the top 5 running backs in Cleveland Browns franchise history. Age 228, October 1990, running back Kevin Mack of the Cleveland Browns runs with the ball during a game against the San Francisco 49ers at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. The 49ers won the game, 20-17. Kicking off our list is one of the best power running backs in Browns history, 1984 draftee, Kevin Mack. Coming out of Clemson University, and then the USFL's Los Angeles Express, Mack quickly gained a reputation as a man that defenders didn't even want to tackle. More from Dog Pound Daily. Mack earned the nickname, Mack Truck, over the course of his career for a reason. Over 9 seasons, Mack racked up 5,123 yards, along with 46 touchdowns and countless broken tackles. At 6 foot and 244, Mack's stocky build and acceleration allowed him to bust through tacklers. Would the Browns still have made 3 conference championship games, and 5 playoff appearances from 1985 to 1993 without Mack's presence? It's impossible to say for sure. But it seems likely that Mack was able to put them over the hump in the AFC. Point 4. Greg Pruitt, 1973-1981, for number 4. It was difficult to pick just one Pruitt brother to put on this list. Both played for the Browns, played running back, and played at basically the same time. But all in all, Greg Pruitt edges out his brother Mike Pruitt for the number 4 spot on this list. Pruitt makes this list because of his incredible production for the Browns. During his 9 years in the orange and brown, Pruitt rushed for nearly 5,500 yards, and scored 25 touchdowns. The Browns loved their fullbacks back in the day, and Pruitt was no exception. Pruitt's running style, much like Mack's, would define the Browns for years to come. Behind any offensive line, Pruitt was determined to get the job done, and his impact was greatly missed when he left for the Los Angeles Raiders in 1982. Page 3. NEW Orleans and photo by Chris Craven. Getty Images. Marion Motley is truly one of the pioneers of both his age and the game of football as a whole. Playing for the Browns from their inception in 1946 until 1953, Motley is one of the greatest players the Browns have ever seen, at more than one position. Of course, Motley is known for his time as a running back. As the Browns' chief runner during his career, Motley rushed for over 4,700 yards, scored 31 touchdowns, and averaged 5.7 yards per attempt. Oh, and he was also a linebacker during his career. The athleticism, skill, and stamina that it takes to play both fullback and linebacker is incredible. Motley collected 2 interceptions during his career along with 9 forced fumbles. As a dual-position athlete at the sport's top level, Motley is no doubt deserving of a spot on the list. Point 2. Leroy Kelly, 1964–1973. Leroy Kelly is not only one of the most productive running backs in Browns history, but in the history of the league. The sheer statistical measures by which Kelly dominated the league in the 1960s and 70s is truly something to behold. As both a running back and a receiver, Kelly helped to strengthen the Browns' offense in more ways than one. As a receiver, Kelly caught 190 passes in his career for a total of 2,281 yards and 13 touchdowns. As a running back, Kelly's numbers, for their time at least, are eye-popping. Throughout his 10-year career, Kelly rushed for a grand total of 74 touchdowns, 7,274 yards, for an average of 4.2 yards per carry. Page 4. You know it, I know it, every Browns fan worth their salt knows it. Jim Brown is not only the greatest Cleveland Browns running back of all time, but he is likely the greatest running back of all time. Jim Brown, in every sense of the word, was a monster on the football field. Fondly remembered by many as the greatest football player of all time, Brown's rushing prowess, to the tune of 3 MVP awards, led Cleveland to an NFL championship in 1964. Coming out of Syracuse, many expected that Brown would be a great pick for anyone looking for a running back in the 1957 NFL Draft. Turns out that even going as high as number 6 overall, Brown was a steal for the Cleveland Browns. Outside of his rookie year, Brown failed to rush for 1,000 yards just once, 1962, during his 8-year career. During that year, he still rushed for 13 touchdowns and led the Browns to a respectable 7-6-1 record. All in all, Brown was just bigger, faster, stronger, and more athletic than anyone else playing that game at that time. As perhaps the greatest player of all time, Brown was a thing of beauty on the football field. Rushing for a staggering 12,312 yards for his career, Jim Brown now sits 10th on the NFL's all-time rushing list. Even though he has not played in over 50 years, Brown still holds a top spot among the league's greatest runners. The game has changed since then, for sure, but Brown's greatness cannot be denied. Page 5. Use your arrows to browse at Cleveland Browns quarterback position seems to have a handful of new faces every year. The position is like the defense against the dark arts instructor position at Hogwarts. This year the Browns have an idea of who the 29th, 30th, and possibly the 31st starting quarterbacks could be. They have added Tyrod Taylor, Drew Stanton, and Baker Mayfield. Taylor should be the starter Week 1, making him the 29th starting quarterback for the Browns since 1999. The plan in the Browns organization seems to be to make Baker Mayfield lucky number 30 and have him eventually take the job from Taylor. The Browns signed Drew Stanton to be the backup quarterback in case Taylor gets hurt, and if they don't believe Mayfield is ready, Stanton could end up being the 30th quarterback, and Mayfield eventually the 31st. No matter how this season turns out, the Browns finally seem to have the quarterback room in order. Cleveland currently has arguably one of the best quarterback rooms in the NFL. Yes, you read that correctly. The combined talent of Taylor, a top 20 QB in the league, and Mayfield, the number 1 overall pick, puts them in that conversation. Stanton also has some value as a good backup. The Browns haven't always had this much quarterback talent, so let's look back at the trio's 28 predecessors. They are ranked by their talent and production during their tenure with the Browns. Use your arrows to browse.